Abduction. Welcome back, 88ers. Camille and James here, 88 Fitness Training. Today, we're gonna cover some of your favorite leg exercises at the gym, but done in your home. So we're gonna go through alternatives for the leg press, barbell squat, your leg extension and curl, as well as the hip abduction and abduction machine. So stay tuned, check it out. Thanks for sticking around. So today's video is going to be a really fun video. We're going to take you through some of our favorite pieces of commercial equipment at the gym for training legs and show you how to adapt that for working out at home. I know we have a huge at-home workout subscriber base, so we definitely want to make sure we were covering content for you guys. Makes it fun, keeps it interesting. So we're going to go through several of our favorites and then show you different variations you can do at home. Let's jump in. Starting with the leg press, this is undoubtedly one of the best machines at the gym for training the legs. It definitely focuses on quads, but you get a lot of hamstring, calf action as well. So it makes it a really good overall mass developer for the legs. What do you think, James?
Big compound exercise, and what you can do on a leg press that you can't do with squats is go to failure safely. You can't fail on a squat safely. You can fail on this leg press safely. There's a block right here, and the weight's not gonna fall on you, it's not gonna crush you, so you can go to failure on the leg press safely.
Yeah. Another interesting or specific characteristic of the leg press is that your back is supported and only your legs are moving. So it's a lot more stable than doing, say, barbell back squats where you have the stability factor in there. So a lot of people like that aspect of it, and they can go heavier, like James said, and actually take it to failure without incorporating the lower back in the back. The first alternative that we'll show you for the leg press is gonna be a dumbbell squat, y'all. And so I realize it maybe doesn't have all of the unique characteristics that the leg press has, but if you're at home, this is a great place to start. So James has a single dumbbell here and he'll demonstrate for you.
Even though it's not exactly the same, you're working the exact same muscles as you would on the leg press. Good tip on this, to find your depth, go ahead and tap the dumbbell to the floor. Now, if you go up to the big weights, you got a 150-pound dumbbell, you're only gonna go down about this far, so keep that in mind. But for most of your good depth finders, tap the dumbbell.
Yeah, the good thing, just like the leg press, when I was mentioning there's different feet placement, if you keep your feet, you know, shoulder width apart, toes kind of straight ahead, and you do these, it's gonna be the most similar. The wider out you go, the more inner thigh you're gonna get, just like on the leg press. And then you can, of course, do other things like elevate the heels if you want to emphasize quads. But an overall, just dumbbell squat is a really good alternative. You're pretty stable. You can pretty much control the weight without having to worry. So just like the leg press.
Easily progressively overload as well. You just get a heavier dumbbell next time.
My number one pick, though, for replacing the leg press is going to be a deficit squat. So same thing, but up on a platform. So whether you have two benches, you stack your plates high, you grab two cinder blocks, get yourself raised up. We're lucky we have a nice platform here to do this on. But for the reason James mentioned, right, the bigger the dumbbell, the less range of motion you have doing a dumbbell squat. So by doing a deficit, you can get the same depth that you can get on the leg press. So go ahead, James. So just like this. Yeah. So now you can see that he's got a lot more range of motion. He's still working overall legs. Again, he can change kind of the feet stance, bring his feet a little closer, a little wider, depending on what he wants to emphasize. So for me, I think this is a little superior because it has more potential for you to progressively overload.
100%, and it's more time under tension, it's a longer range of motion, and you're putting your quad and your hamstring and your glute at a more stretched position when you go to that deficit squat.
There you have it, deficit squats. Even better alternative to the leg press is gonna be deficit dip belt squats, y'all. So James has a dip belt on. If you actually have like the squat version of the belt, it might be a little more comfortable. but the weight's hanging there. He's up on his platform, and now he can come down and do the squat. The reason this is probably the best alternative is he's able to support his balance with the rack there. So remember I said the leg press kind of took that stability aspect out of it? Well, doing it in this way is really gonna help. He could still have the same depth as the deficit dumbbell squats, but he could probably even go a little heavier depending on how he rigs the plate or the dumbbell there. So even more opportunity for progressive overload. What do you think, James?
This is a great one, y'all. The belt takes the weight off your back. So again, like the leg press, the back's out of the equation. You also can self-spot. So you can go super, super, super heavy. If you get stuck, you just pull yourself up with your arms here like I did earlier. Great exercise. I agree. This has got to be the best one.
Yeah, so if you're at home, again, grab some cinder blocks, grab 2 benches. A lot of people do have like an at-home squat rack. So you could face it and just hold on to the bar slightly for that stability or whatever you have. I mean, maybe there's a wall or a pole next to you. But you get the idea. So there you have it. There's 3 different alternatives that you can work in for the leg press, depending on your level, depending on what equipment you have at home. But buying a dip belt's not expensive. You know, in fact, we'll toss a link on Amazon for this. We're Amazon affiliates and you can grab it. It's only like 20 bucks. They're not expensive.
No excuse not to buy this for your home gym if you want it.
So let's go ahead and move on to barbell back squats. So the simplest alternative to barbell back squats is probably gonna be a dumbbell version because we're assuming you don't have a barbell at home, y'all. So if you have a barbell at home, even if you don't have like the power rack or whatever, toss it on your back and do barbell squats. It's gonna be superior. But assuming all you have is dumbbells at home, we're gonna go ahead and grab the dumbbells and you could do a double dumbbell squat just like this. All right, so keep the dumbbells at your side, get down nice and deep, back up. Try to keep a nice neutral spine.
Using the dumbbell is going to take the load off your back once again, so it's all legs. I mean, your arms are working, your grip's working, but your back's out of the equation because the weight's down here. It's not resting on top of your back there.
Yeah, now if you can control the dumbbells and you do want that aspect, you can always raise them up to shoulder height and do the squat. It's a little more similar, I would say, to a barbell back squat if you want that stability aspect.
Yeah.
Just like that.
I'd say it'd be good, it'd be better if you grabbed your barbell, heaved it up, put it on your back to do the squats. If you look up Arnold Schwarzenegger, back in the day, he didn't have a power rack. And he credited a lot of his core strength to ripping that bar up and putting it on his back to do his squats. So he would load up the bar, 200, 300 pounds, rank it up, boom, get it on his back, and then do his squats. So if you don't have a power rack, no excuse, y'all. Arnold himself did it, you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can always look on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, you know, whatever it is, secondhand barbells. You can get them for pretty cheap. So just keep that in mind. Some other alternatives, of course, you can squat with your resistance band with the loops. You can do belted squats or a single dumbbell squat, just like we showed you a few minutes ago. So you have a lot of options when it comes to simulating the barbell back squat. Another alternative that you can do is going to be a Bulgarian split squat. All right, y'all, I know it's unilateral, so it's a little different than doing barbell back squats, but the Bulgarian split squat is really great for the quads. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. You just need a bench and a dumbbell. I like starting seated. You just kick a leg out, stretch it out, roll up onto it, and then set the backwards foot. You can hold the dumbbell in the opposite hand to the working leg, and you're going to come down and back up. The key with making this a quad exercise versus more emphasis on the hamstring and glute, it's going to be keeping the torso upright. Anytime you start to lean forward and do this, you're going to get a lot more hamstring and glute. So bring that torso upright and get deep in that Bulgarian and back up. There's different ways to make this super nasty. I forget where I see it, but you could always do like 8 rep Bulgarian split squat, go down the hold for 8 seconds, and then finish with full range of motion, 8 reps. So there's great ways to intensify this for at home. So there you have it. There's the Bulgarian split squat.
Okay, so the leg extension, right? Everybody knows that at the commercial gym, it isolates your quads. The leg extension machine is great. how do you set it up at home? All right, you need a loop band. At least that's the way we're showing you here. You anchor yourself, get yourself a good anchor here. You might have to play with your bench to get the range of motion down, but you want a good anchor, good solid anchor. Sit on your bench, pull it through, and we're gonna do one leg at a time here. You can do both legs if you like, but we're only gonna do one at a time right now. And take your time with the setup, y'all. It can be a little wonky. Just take your time with it. You want the band right under your toe, like so. If you put it on your ankle, it might roll up as you do your extension, right? On the toe here, it's not gonna roll up, right? All right, so we got our leg extension. Boom, just like so. Squeeze at the top, just like that. And with the band, remember, it gets harder as you go. So the hardest, the most weight, the most resistance is at the top, right when you do your contraction as well. So it's a great one to do with the band. Max contractions, max resistance at the same time. And if you want your leg extension at home, here's your setup.
I'm going to show you some alternatives for that leg curl now. So similar setup, we're going to need a bench and a loop band. So I've already went ahead and anchored it down here like this. I'm just gonna lay flat on the bench and have James put this band around my feet. So let me go ahead and show you. So lay flat on the bench. You can go ahead. Yep. You wanna flare your toes out, kind of like a penguin, just to keep that band in place. And then go ahead and pull, and it's all about that contraction at the top.
Yeah.
You know, James is famous for saying your hamstrings are like your biceps, flex it the same way. This particular exercise really makes me think about that because you really want to contract those hamstrings at the top.
And we got the prone position here, my favorite leg curl.
That's right.
Just remember, do the penguin feet. If you don't, the band's gonna slip off of there. And a pro tip, you were already anchored for your leg extension, just leave it anchored in the same place. Adjust your bench and then do your leg curls.
Woo!
It's better with a partner so they can hook you up. I got you. You lay on the bench and then put it on there, but you can do it on your own if you have to.
Absolutely. That burn just doing those few reps, y'all. So that's super nasty. Like you said, do it right after you do your leg extension, get it in. A similar variation to that is going to be with the dumbbell. So I'm going to go ahead and have James demonstrate this time. So he's going to lay flat on that bench. He's just going to hold the dumbbell with his feet there and then come up and curl just like that. You can go pretty heavy with the dumbbell here. So if you got, up to 50s, great. Grab that 50 and try it. Work your way up, progressive overload. I almost like this a little more than the band just because you can stretch more at the bottom. However, the band does give you that variable tension, constant tension. So both are really great applications that you can try.
Yeah, give it a try. Just be careful when you come up here. If you don't have big calves, you're gonna have to really squeeze the dumbbell to keep it from falling. But it's a great alternative to the band. If you don't have a band, you can still get your leg curls in.
All right, dumbbell leg curls. The last two machines that we're gonna show you alternatives for are the hip abduction machine, which is that outer thigh machine, and the hip adduction machine, which is inner thigh. So those are two of my favorite machines to work at the gym. There's nothing that burns quite like those two in particular. So it can be a challenge to get that same kind of burn and stimulus at home, but we're gonna show you some of the best alternatives. We've got three for you. We'll start with the seated hip abduction machine. You're gonna need some kind of looped booty band. So we've got two different kinds here, both really great. But if you are doing just hip abduction with the band, you probably want one of these cloth ones because they don't slide or roll up the legs. So I'll go ahead and show you these.
Again, y'all, these are cheap enough. So if you don't have them in your home gym, buy them. If you got a home gym, bands are essential, I can tell you that. If you want to simulate all the machines at the gym. And they're cheap enough, easy enough, so order your band, y'all.
So we're gonna put it just above the knee. You're gonna sink down on the bench, just like that. You're gonna come up into a bridge, and you're just gonna open the knees.
Baby.
Really getting that stretch. Keep the hips up while you do that.
Talk about a burner. Ooh.
Now, anytime you're doing hip abduction or hip adduction, you really wanna focus on higher rep volume. You know, your 10 reps isn't gonna really cut it. So you really wanna do 20 reps or so. Incorporate a lot of isometric holds and things too if you wanna intensify it, because that's one of the challenges is trying to progressively overload like this. So just like that. I'm gonna show you another variation for hip abduction. This one's super nasty and it's gonna give you Jane Fonda vibes. So this is actually from the glute guy, Brett. If you know who that is, definitely check him out on Instagram and YouTube. But you're gonna be on your side just like this. We're gonna raise the hip. There you go, and up and down. Back up. Yeah, it's super nasty for that, the abductors. You're gonna definitely feel it. I'd like to see how many reps you can actually get to. Great way to progressive overload. If that's too easy for some odd reason, you can always add a loop band above your knees. Lots of different options there. But what do you think, James?
Super hard, super nasty. If this is too easy, I want to see the video of it. If it's too easy, please post a video in the comment of you doing it too easily.
But yeah, definitely go to Brett's channel and check it out. You'll see the proper form and setup and all that, and his rationale for why that's a great exercise. But it definitely gives me those Jane Fonda vibes for sure. Hopefully you guys are old enough to know who she is. But all right, there you have it. Those are the two alternatives for hip abduction. I think the best ones for doing it at home, simulating that outer thigh machine.
This one's gonna be a lot better than the band, if you can do it, but believe me, it is hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe like do a sandwich set, y'all. So do, you know, 20 hip abductions, drop down to the mat, hit 10 in one direction, 10 the other direction, go back, do, you know, like you can make it as intense as you need to if it's too easy for you. So just keep that in mind. I'll show you now how to do hip abductions. That's that inner thigh kind of groin area. So we're gonna take one of these thinner loop bands and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna anchor it down low. So just go ahead and loop it in on itself, just like this. And I'm gonna have James demonstrate this for you guys. So go ahead, James, stick a foot in here. There you go. All right, so now he can kind of come across his body, really flexing that inner thigh as he stretches. Yep. Just like this. So this is probably the closest thing you can get to at home for training that those adductors. And if you do higher volume, 20 reps, it's gonna be pretty nasty. And the further you come across your body and get that stretch on the leg, the better you're gonna be.
Yeah, pro tip on this one, squeeze both your inner thighs as you come in here. Don't let this leg rest. Bring them together, squeeze them both, and then when you do the other leg, obviously do the same thing. So you're working both legs at the same time, even though you only have resistance on one side.
Absolutely. You can even sometimes grab an adjustable bench and kind of kneel up on one leg against it to get even more stretch across that inner thigh. So get creative with it, y'all, and try different things. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Let's go ahead and recap it for you. So we took you through some of our favorite commercial pieces of equipment for training legs, and we showed you different alternatives that you can do in the comfort of your home. So we started with the leg press, one of the best compound exercises definitely on leg day that you can do. Remember, there was key characteristics to the leg press that made it very unique, and that was having the upper body supported. Right, so one of the best ways, our best recommended way of doing that was the belted deficit squat while holding on to something.
Yeah, no question. Takes your back out, you're working only legs, and you got stability, and you can spot yourself. No question.
Yeah, and you can progressive overload pretty easy because you can keep adding weight plates or dumbbells to that dip belt. So that is definitely going to be the #1 pick for the alternative. All right, the next thing we went through, the king of leg day, barbell back squats, y'all. And remember what we said, barbells are not that expensive, especially if you're buying used. So I would challenge you to go ahead and just invest in a barbell for your home gym. But if you don't have that for some reason, then you have options between the double dumbbell squat and the Bulgarian split squat. My top pick, probably the Bulgarian split squat, because it's gonna put emphasis on those quads if you use the right form.
Yeah, either one of them's good alternative, but buy yourself a barbell and do some barbell squats.
Absolutely. From there, we went into leg extension, leg curl. Remember, all you really need is a bench or a chair and a loop band, and you can do both variations of the leg curl and leg extension. Really great options. You can even do the leg curl option with a dumbbell if for some reason you didn't have the loops band.
Yeah, those band leg curls are nasty, yo. Don't discredit them because it's the band exercise. They are nasty. My one quad is burning still from the demonstration I did earlier.
And then we wrapped everything up with the hip abduction machine. We showed you two really great variants. One with a cloth booty band, and then the other was the glute guys, Jane Fonda hip raise, whatever you want to call it. And then we showed you the hip adduction, where you just grab a thinner loop band and you can move that leg across to get the inner thigh. So really great options. In fact, for all of the equipment that we use today, the bands and different things, I'm going to put a link in the description. So if you want to go ahead and invest in those things, it's a very small investment, but it will take you really far in terms of being able to do things at home.
100%. And put a barbell link in there.
You got it, James. You got it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. In fact, if you really enjoyed this video, you could always drop us some super thanks for our super fans. We definitely like that. But definitely check out our leg playlist. And as always, hit that like and subscribe. Camille and James, 88 Fitness Training.